Hey guys.
All right, Steve. Welcome to Fight Week. I know we've talked about it leading up to this, but how excited are you now to finally get back in there and do your thing?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to close the book on this thing, get in there, figure it out.
What does this win over him do for you?
I mean, every time I fight is really just an opportunity to prove myself, to do the best I can, and to fight somebody that's a good competitor. And especially when it comes to Valentin Moldavsky, all those things are 100% true and relevant. So, like I said, all the anticipatory, build up and the implications that came with the first time, I feel like are every bit as prevalent then or now as they are then. But it's also the added bit of like, that unfinished business aspect.
No, I'm not asking for technique or preparation, but how do you prepare for a guy that you were in there for, and obviously not that long, but then you go and have another fight, so you kind of had some time in between. You're not the same fighter. He's not the same fighter. So what was that preparation like?
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't get enough cage time with him to kind of establish, what I can expect from him. So really, at the end of the day, you try to glean what you can from the performances in between, and then really just hope to translate that in a fight night. But ultimately, it's about me and what I do. So I'm looking forward to showing off my skill set here.
What's up, Steve? How you doing, man?
Good. Man.
Stick with me for a sec. Logan Storley, Aaron Jeffrey, Impa Casagnai, Michael Blockus, Jordan Oliver, Mitch McKee, of course, the legendary Jason Strout. The KillCliff gang is all here in South Dakota. How would you describe your experience training alongside the elite group of guys at KillCliff FC, and who are some fighters that push you to your limits on the daily throughout this camp?
Elite group of dudes in an elite gym, an elite facility in an elite state in Florida. It is absolutely incredible to be able to share a fight night with the guys you just mentioned, but also to share a stable with some of the absolute best fighters in the world, some of the best guys doing it right now. It is wonderful. It is a time that whenever I first started my journey 10 years ago, I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I want to be fighting the best guys in the world, training with the best guys in the world. And it's almost like, you blink, you open your eyes again, and here I am doing it. It's incredible. It's absolutely sensational to, share a card with a bunch of guys that I like and respect and, grind with day in, day out. And, to be able to reach a point where it's like finally come to fruition. It's awesome. It's beautiful. A huge blessing.
You spoke a little bit about this just now, but I want to go even deeper into it. On August 12th, 2022, you stood across Valentin Moldavsky for the first time, a fight that ended in unfortunate circumstances due to an eye poke, leading the bout to be ruled a no contest. 364 days later, August 11th, you two will step into the cage together once again. How good does it feel to get this one back, to have another opportunity to put away one of the promotion's top guys, a chance to defeat a former champion?
Yeah, same guy, same place, almost the same date. And weird how, what do they say? History doesn't repeat itself, but it echoes. And I really feel like the only echo we're not going to have is we're going to have a final decisive result. But it's good, it just feels good like I said, finally be in position to close the book on this thing and to share the cage with somebody the caliber that Valentin Moldavsky is.
And then last for me, I just wanted to ask you about that last fight. I was there, Bellator 290 out in California. The fight ended in a draw. Ali Isaev. Did you think you won that fight going to the announcement of decision? Like, were you confident, or watching that back, do you think they ruled it a draw? Do you think it was the correct decision?
Do I think a draw is a correct decision? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I try to be as objective as I can be, especially when it comes to my own, my own performance, my own development. And there really is no other way to cut it other than he won rounds 1 and 3, and I very decisively took the second round. I mean, even still, it's a thing where I had a lot from that fight that I got to kind of like stop and look back on, as and it was an awesome opportunity to be able to share the cage with, again, like a world champion from a different promotion, and a lot of build up, a lot of lead up, and another opportunity to prove myself against the other best guys doing it right now. But and while again it was disappointing to kind of have another, I don't want to say a non-result, a draw is a result, but to have another kind of like sort of inconclusive thing was a little bit of like a hang up maybe. but at the end of the day, we're just calling it what it is. Yeah, it was a draw. And I can even remember thinking, like, right after the fight, like, man, if they gave him this fight, it'd be because he won 2 rounds against my one, regardless of the amplitude. But that said, I spoke to Ali a little bit after the fight, and I told him, like, hey, man, like, if they would have given it to you, I wouldn't have been upset. But I do think I won it 10-8 in the second. And I would die on that hill. So no, all respect to him and all respect to the judges, and whatever. Here we are now. We get to run out here and do it again. Thank you.
So that was a grueling fight against Isaev last time out. Would you say that that's a fight you might want to see again in the future, or no?
We could talk about it. I mean, I'm really only focused on Moldovsky right now, but I mean, the only thing I would say about that is that Isaev, while he's is older for, just by athletic standards, doesn't have the mileage on him that, say, I would say I probably have more mileage on him than he does. And that's, again, not like to belittle him. It's just to say, man, I didn't have the full wrestling circuit. I went right into trading blows with the best dudes in the world. So, I bet you Ali Isaev is going to be around for a little bit longer. And if it comes up in the future, we'll see what happens.
All right, cool. So your slick submissions and mauling top pressure are something that you're known for, but Moldavsky is a 2-time combat sambo champion. Does your game plan change a bit knowing that he is probably equal to you on the ground and has skill, or do you think that you're just going to be able to run?
I'm looking forward to figuring it out. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing that gets me up in the morning. If I thought he was a square, if I wanted to beat up squares, I would have kept doing local jiu-jitsu tournaments in Pittsburgh. I'm talking, and no disrespect, but I proved myself there. I did my thing. And as the ranks went higher and the level went up, it's that kind of thing. It makes you nervous. A lot of ugly feelings that come with competing and fighting, a lot of doubt, a lot of pressure. But there's also a lot of, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. There's a lot of this intense fire I feel knowing that, and it's not like a purely happy thing. It is a little bit, a little anxiety, a little bit, whatever, nervousness, but there is this intense feeling of man, I'm here and I'm going to step into the cage with one of the best guys in the world, and we are going to freaking see how it all pans out, and I trained really hard and I did everything I could, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out. But that said, I'm confident that combat sambo world champion stuff, that while all that's very impressive, I really think that I'm going to have the better run of it on Friday.
Okay, so just last off, what are your thoughts on the matchup between Ryan Bader and Linton Vassell, and do you think you could possibly see the winner in your next fight?
If it's Linton Vassell, no. But no, I pick Linton Vassell in that fight every time.
What's up, Steve? Dylan Napoleon with New England MMA. I only have one for you today. So you've had 3 tough rounds with Ali Isaev, and in my opinion, I would say that Ali and Valentin they're pretty similar. Their styles are pretty similar. Going into this fight now, do you feel a little bit more comfortable having those tough 3 rounds with Ali under your belt?
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with the first part of what you said, in that I really don't feel like they're that similar. Ali Isaev is, bigger, stronger, probably the more I don't know if athletics is the right word, but probably the more powerful of the two. He's a little bit more measured in his approach. He's a little bit more, every time he does something, he does it as hard and as fast as he can, and then lends itself to. I mean, the takedown. I'll say this: when he shot his head to the inside, I've wrestled with some of the some of the best guys that are in MMA that are wrestling, and never had somebody's head hit my chest and throw me right to my back the way he did. Where Valentin Moldavsky, a little bit more of a volume guy, but he throws caution to the wind. And if you take your eye off the ball for a second, you were eating 4 or 5 shots before you even get your feet under you again. And I mean, they both come from, if you want to call it a grappling, quote unquote, background. That's fair to say too. But again, Ali Isaev's, his stuff's a lot different than what Moldovsky said. Now, to answer your actual question, no, yeah, absolutely. I went 3 rounds with a world champion. It was, again, like a win would have been better, but it showed me that, hey, when I show up fight night and I give everything I can, I absolutely deserve to be in there with the best guys in the world.
We're good.
Marty.
Hey, Steve.
How's it
Just a quick one. You mentioned Linton before. Obviously, Linton has faced Moldovsky before and got the win against him. Have you spoken much to Linton about Moldovsky's style? And when Linton does become heavyweight champion, what does that mean to you? Obviously, you're ranked 3rd at the moment, and possibly could go to 2 after a win this weekend.
Well, the thing is, the question, the first part of that especially, is interesting because like they fought a long time ago. Like what their first fight was, don't quote me, 4 years ago maybe. So like obviously we spent time talking about it because I felt like I was gonna end up fighting him anyway. But yeah, we spoken a little bit here and there about like what the plan of attack is. But if there is something that Linton and I do spend considerable time discussing, it's that come time to fight, it's never about what your opponent's doing as much as it'll ever be about what I do or what he and I do, especially when we face our opponents. So that's, usually the bulk of our time is spent like when we train, kind of addressing the holes that we see in each other, but also, building each other up, making sure we both feel confident and reassured and ready. And when, especially when it comes to feeling confident, reassured and ready, it'll obviously feel nice for me to some degree to see Linton perform because, he's a training partner and, be really, really affirmative in the positive sense that like, wow, like Linton's a guy that I'm competitive with in the gym every day. And he went out and won a world title. So that can only mean for me that I could be competitive in a world title situation. But what it really would mean for me ultimately is just that, man, one of my best friends and a mentor, a big brother figure to me, went out there and attained his dreams. I would just be so unbelievably elated for him if he was able to go out there and win the world title.
Thank you, Steve.
All good.